You're listening to What About Me, where I, along with my guests, take a deep dive into those personal struggles and the internal dialogue that is stopping you from doing the very thing that would cause you to have even more success, more money, more relationship, and more abundance in your life. I'm Keisha Dixon, the Tapping Queen, transformational wealth coach, creator of the Monetize Your Mind Success System and the Visibility Vixen Success System. Today's show is being sponsored by our sponsor, Transformed Credit. If you're in need of rapid credit repair with no auto enrollment or monthly fees, and you only pay as they delete, text 44222 and type Transformed Credit. Again, you're listening to What About Me, and I have an awesome recurring guest on today, Dr. Dravon James. Dr. Dravon James is the founder of Everyday Peace with Dr. Dravon James, and her goal with Everyday Peace is to educate, empower, and inspire others to build the life of their dreams. As an author, a celebrity author, and keynote speaker, Dr. Dravon James teaches others how to utilize everything that shows up in their lives, the good, the bad, and everything in between, as stepping stones on the path to building the life of their dreams. Today, Dr. Dravon and I are going to discuss a topic that's near and dear to our heart. We are going for part 3 of The Brilliant Life. Welcome, Dr. Dravon.
Thank you. Thank you. It is so good to be here as we talk about the brilliant life. Who doesn't want it, right? Who doesn't want it?
I know I certainly want it, and I'm going for it each and every day.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, absolutely.
So over the last 2 episodes, we've talked about the brilliant life, and we've mapped it out in the 3 pillars, right? Health, wealth, and relationships. And we covered health, and we covered relationships. And so today we're going to play in my sandbox, and we're going to talk about wealth. We're going to talk about money and how having money can amplify our brilliant life.
Yeah, and it's, and here's the thing too, and I'm so happy that we did it in the order that we did. We talked about health, we talked about relationship, and now we're talking about money, because so oftentimes, right, we think that if we just start with the money, everything will be fine. Show me the money, give me the money, and it'll solve all my problems. And I love our celebrities. I absolutely love entertainment. But I think because we're all here, we're all teaching and receiving and being taught and learning. It's a cycle. They teach us constantly that money is not the answer to everything. So you really got to have balance. You got to have your health. You got to have your relationships in place. And that's how you get your most utility out of money, right? So when you have your health, you have your wealth, you get a lot of utility when you have the extra money. Same thing if you have your money and you have your health and you're longing for relationships. So having the balance between the 3. So saving this topic for the last, and I always say everything is in the big 3, health, wealth, and relationship. But talking about wealth last, help us to prioritize our health, help us to prioritize our wealth, our relationships. Now we talk about our wealth. We got a nice pot, and we're round, and we're whole, and we're complete. We're at peace, nothing missing, nothing broken, totality. So this is a great time, wonderfully positioned. I don't know if we did that on purpose. I think not, but it just happened.
I don't think we did it on purpose, but I'm glad that it happened that way. And you really summed it up so nicely, because oftentimes, and this is a great segue into what prevents us from having more money. Oftentimes we may think it's an either or. You can have your wealth, or you can have your health, or you can have money. You can have a good relationship and a happy life, or you can have money. And what we're going to talk about today is it doesn't have to be either or. It can be that balance. It can be all 3 of it can be, right? And health.
That's how you want it. You want all 3. Yeah, you want all 3. Yeah.
You absolutely do. So today, let's talk about why we don't have more money. If that's something you're looking for, I don't know. Is it something you're looking for, Dravon?
Who could not? Here's the thing about it. I want to tell you guys this story. So years ago, I used to be in sales, do sales, and I was really, really good at it. I liked it. It was a lot of fun. And I earned free cars and all that. And I met a lot of people. That's really the best thing about it, is meeting people. And so I met a woman, and she said to me, she said, Dravon, I don't ever want to be wealthy. It was the first time I ever heard that in my life. I'm like, you don't? And so I thought maybe she's operating on a different definition of wealthy than what I'm wealthy. I said, how do you define wealthy? She said, I don't ever want to have a lot of money. I said, by a lot of money, define what you mean. Because again, maybe we're operating two different definitions of, a lot. She goes, well, I don't need to have any more money than what I have. I'm like, you must be a lot wealthier than what I know, because are you able to pay all your bills? Are you without, a blink of an eye? Are you able to make sure that you have your kids' needs met, including their college and beyond? She goes, no, none of that. She goes, I just feel like if I had more money, I would just really have more problems. And I thought, I never associated money with problems.
Yeah.
So I think we really got to be clear what we associate that, because I feel that if you have more money, if I have more money, well, obviously I'm going to be able to take care of some things around my home and for my family, but you also, it puts you in a position to give more, and we give now, right? We give to what we can give to now, but could you imagine being able to support, look at Oprah, being able to take all those girls and educate them. This is what money is not meant to hoard. It's meant to give and to produce, and that's what it's meant to do. So definitely more is better. More is better. The more money you have, the more people you can help.
Yeah, often in my practice, I run across people who have retained me and then say statements like, oh, I really hate money. And they're surprised as we start to unpack it, because they're so used to saying it. Like, yeah, no, I don't like money. Rich people are evil. They're manipulative. They're selfish. And we'll start to unpack it, and I'll say, and yet you're looking to increase your income. And your subconscious is always going to want to keep you safe. So if you have this habitual thought system or program belief, I call it, that I hate money, and they're like, I didn't realize that's what's happening, but it is what they'll say all the time, then your mind is going to work overtime to make sure that it keeps you safe and doesn't give you anything that you hate.
Right. It's the genie of your life. Right. You say it, and so it is. It goes to work, spinning the universe on its axis, and says, they said they don't want more money. Stop.
They said they hate wealthy people. We're not going to turn them into one of those people.
Right. We want you to be honorable. Right. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And humble. And you can be humble and be the richest person in the room.
Gosh, and I bet most people who really have lots of money are very humble, very generous, And if it weren't for those people, we wouldn't have a lot of our institutions that we have today.
That's right. And so those are some of the program beliefs. They're the beliefs that we didn't come out of the womb with, but we inherited them from our family, right? And there's program beliefs or habitual self-talk, those things that we say to ourselves over and over again that go unchecked 24/7, 365. It's also the emotions that run through your nervous system as you think about money and connected traumas. You can actually have traumas connected to money. Yeah. And as I start to unpack this with my clients, I've discovered that there are actually 6 different types of money that I walk my clients through. There's the savings type, the debt or the bills type of money. It produces a reaction. Credit score for Americans produces a reaction or a thought process. Income goals is a type of money that produces a very strong reaction and thought process. And something that I call toxic money is another type of money. Not everyone has that, but that's money that has a battle attached to it.
Yeah. And you can imagine, toxic money. You can already realize it when you say the word, where that resonates inside you, and tune your body to what the word triggers inside. Toxic money means that getting it's going to be hard, right?
It's going to be hard.
It's associated with some kind of hard memory in the mind. The process is just difficult. And if we know nothing else, we don't voluntarily want to hurt, right?
No. And a lot of times with toxic money, it can be something that seems like it makes so much sense, right? For example, if you have been hurt and you're involved in a lawsuit with a hospital, right? And you know that you've been hurt, it's almost as if you can't make any other money until the hospital or whoever you're suing acknowledges that you were hurt, right? Because if you were to make any other money, subconsciously, we may be holding on to the belief that somebody could say, see, I told you you were okay. You don't
Right.
need this money. And then we wouldn't feel vindicated. We wouldn't feel like we had our day in court for the hurt.
That
Another
is true.
Another way that toxic money can show up is if you're a divorced parent or a single mother, and there's this battle behind child support. It's almost as if the entire household around you has to fall apart so that you can prove, see, I need this money. This is the money I need.
Yes, yes. It's validating because you put that energy out there. So it's saying, yes, I'll get that image for you.
Right.
So people can touch and agree that yes, you're in need.
Yes, you're in need. When the truth is, child support isn't about your need. It's about being a responsible parent and supporting your child, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to do with struggle and need.
Right, right. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a very good point that you make. And I think that all of that's toxic. Whenever the emotion that we have around something makes us feel heavier, smaller, less significant, that's toxic space to be in. And it definitely happens with our money. I used to, when I first became a professional many years ago, I used to be toxic around spending money. I'd be so afraid if I spent $20, I wouldn't be able to replace it. And I deliberate, oh my gosh, for hours about a $20 purchase, like, oh my gosh. And then I'd bring more of that type of energy into my space. I had to become aware and educate myself. You spend with joy when you do it. You spend with joy. And that the energy is different.
It is, in one way that I change the energy around my money, and I help other people change the energy around their money, is by dissecting it through a money mapping. You just mentioned spending and savings in the same breath. Do you want to do a little bit of a money mapping with me?
I'd be happy to. I think this would be really good for our viewers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So in the money mapping, what we do is we take a look at the 6 different types of money. We're not going to look at all 6 today, but I had said before they were savings, debt or bills, credit score, income goals, and toxic money. And what we're looking at is the mind-body connection. Those 3 distinct aspects that come up every single time you think about any one of those 6 types of money. And that's the emotions that course through your nervous system, the thoughts that run in your head 24/7, 365, and some people have connected traumas. So let's think about savings. Don't share, and viewers who are watching on YouTube and also on Facebook, you don't need to comment in the box below the amount of money you have in savings, but just think about, and you, Dravon, Dr. Dravon, and I'll do it too, think about the amount of liquid savings you have right now in your savings account. Just think about that number. Not your 401k, not your pension, just whatever you would use if the dishwasher needed to be repaired. And once you have that number in your head, just breathe with it for a minute and tell me, what are the 2 main feelings that come up when you think about that number?
Well, the first thing was I felt happy.
Awesome.
I felt safe. So that kind of security feeling came up.
I love that you said security. You're just going to hold on to that word for a second. So you felt happy and safe. And what was the main thing that you said in your head? Like when you think about that savings number, what's the first thing that pops up in your head?
I didn't make a statement to myself necessarily. The first thing that popped in my head was abundance. When you said, think about, now, let me just say this. 2 things came, and they kind of came simultaneously. Where I was made me feel like hopeful that I could be where I wanted to be, if that makes any sense.
So
I got hopeful that, there's still time.
Okay, so that's interesting. Okay, so hopeful for where I am, and there's still time to be where I want to be, right? So two thoughts. And you are you're a positive person. You are everyday peace. Your whole entire message is everyday peace. Somebody who doesn't practice intentionally peace every day might have said that with, yeah, you know, I'm feeling happy, but it's not enough.
Right. Yeah. Want more. Mm-hmm.
I want more.
Yeah. Hopeful that more is coming.
Hopeful that more is coming. Yeah. And when you say that, or as you're thinking those things, where in your body are you feeling that?
Oh, I felt it like right here on my, what's this, the back of your neck, from your spinal column. I felt it, yeah. I felt it right there. And not so much in my shoulders, but like a little bit there. Mostly it was like right here.
Mm-hmm. And how did that feel?
I noticed it. I don't know if it was, if it's, if I could say a little stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you feel like instantaneously, and maybe because I practice peace so much, right? Instantaneously, you're aware that you're not where you want to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
And hopeful that you can get there. But then you think, oh, well, yeah, just stressful. I didn't think a lot, but I just felt like that stress up there just a little bit in the back of my neck.
Does it remind you of how hard you have to work?
Yes. Now that I'm talking about it, yes. It reminds me of what a typical day is like. Yeah. And thinking to yourself, well, you got there doing all of that. How much more are you going to have to do to get somewhere else?
Exactly. And that tension behind your neck is almost as it is your body physically connecting how you got there, the job, the hours, however difficult or challenging that was, with a yoke around your neck. And you had mentioned there's a slight sensation in your shoulders. It could feel like the world, the weight of the world, or the weight of feeling secure is squarely on your shoulders. And that's the mind, body, money connection. And I would pay particular attention to the feeling and the thought process behind what's in the back of the neck. Because if it feels really hard and you start feeling like, I had to do so much to get there, how much more will I have to do, even though I'm hopeful to get to where I want to be? What is that going to look like? And those are the kind of thoughts, feelings, and emotions that can actually be like a glass ceiling on the amount of savings that you allow yourself to have. Not how much you can actually have, but how much you allow yourself to have. Because your subconscious mind is always looking for ways to protect you, which is why, even though sitting in this space is uncomfortable, no one wants to feel that in their neck. No one wants to feel that in their shoulders. And I hope as I'm talking, that's gone away. But when we can start leaning into, well, how did I pick up that thought process that saving money would have to be hard or difficult, or I could lose or gain security from my savings? Where did that come along? And I'm so glad that you had said security before, because energetically, savings, the savings type of money, always, always, always represents how safe we feel in the world, or how safe we allow ourselves to feel in the world.
Yeah.
It represents security.
It makes such good sense too, because when you talk about savings, like now we're talking about it, I realize that all at one time I thought about what savings meant for security for my kids, for their future too. And then it's, you say to yourself, oh my gosh, there's things I haven't even thought about yet. Of course, you think about college, but there's grad school, there's this, it's, oh.
And that's the 24/7 spin. If someone were to say savings, 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 you would be in your head even as you're sleeping with that spin. It doesn't go away until you intentionally clear it. Let me ask you a question, Dr. Dravon, and I thank you so much for being a surprise participant.
For the brilliant life, because this is so important that our viewers really get what's attached to their money. And that's part of your life experience. Yeah.
Absolutely. So
next question.
As we're thinking about savings right now, we're still in the savings part of money. Does it remind you of something that happened in the past that involved a great loss or disappointment or a feeling
Well,
of losing safety or security?
you know, when you say that, the first thing that popped into my mind was saving for our first home.
Hmm.
And boy, you put so much into that. I just remember how exhausting that was and how penny pinching it was at the time, you know, trying to get that 20%, that's what we want to do. And to get that, and then you get there and it's almost like dropping a little um, medicine drop in the ocean. That's kind of how I felt, you know? It took all of this sacrifice and all of this time to drop this little bitty drop in this ocean, you know? Like it's just all of that work and it, you know, and it's just, yeah. So that's the first thing that popped in my mind and thinking, gosh, do I have the energy to do that again? And will it be enough? Because money now is not worth what it was back then. You know, it takes a lot more to do a lot less.
Yeah. And so let's start connecting some dots here, some of the things that we've heard since we started talking. When we first started, right before we started this money mapping, you were talking about, you know, I used to debate for hours in my head whether or not I should have spent $20,
Yeah.
right? And as we started in the money mapping, you started feeling the yoke, the tension in the back of your neck. This was really hard. This is a struggle, and how exhausting it was, right? And so now we're sitting here, and the question I just asked you, I was intentionally looking for a connected trauma. Now, trauma doesn't have to be a big T trauma. It could be a little T trauma, and it's really up to your nervous system how it wires it, as whether it recognizes it as a trauma or not. And what we've just discovered was the amount, the saving for your first house, the amount of sacrifice involved in it, the penny pitching, the amount of deprivation you had to have to save. And then finally, you get to the place where you wanted to be. You get to the purchase of your first house, and you're looking around and you're exhausted and you felt deprived. And you drop down all of your savings, and it just seems like a little penny in a big ocean.
Yes.
It's almost as if your subconscious could say, oh my God, we did all of that. We were that deprived. We were that unsafe. We were that unhappy. We were that restricted. For what? That's a trauma.
That's true. Yeah.
That's
And it feels traumatic. If anybody's, you know, it feels traumatic. I've given it all I got and it's happy, but it's just like, wow.
right. And you can have both. But in this case, you definitely want to clear through that trauma. You would want to clear through that trauma. So if you were to finish this sentence, and don't even have to be smart about it, just whatever comes to the top of your head, thinking about your savings, the amount you have right now, this means I am what? And just fill in the blank.
The first word that came to my head, you really want to know what it is.
Yes.
Screwed.
And that, folks, is and I hope that doesn't surprise you. The answer certainly doesn't surprise me. I don't think that you're screwed. I know you're not, but because I hear some of the darkest, I mean, screwed would be light compared to some of the things I hear day in and day out. And the thought that came up to the top of your head, which probably you started to laugh, it probably feels like, that's not me.
Yeah.
Is the thought that comes up just under the surface every single time you think about or look at your savings. This means I'm screwed. This means I'm screwed. This means I'm screwed.
You know, what I felt instantly is like, I'll be fine, probably, right? If I don't live too long. You know how that is. Healthcare eats that stuff up.
I
right?
do. I absolutely know how that is.
But then I thought to myself, this promise to the next generation.
Yeah. And it's a lot. And everything we just looked at in this one type of money is the unpacking of what's keeping us limited in our money, or in this case, in our savings.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot. So there are several more types of money, but I don't think we should move on.
Because savings is big, and I hope our audience is getting this, is that we're talking about living a brilliant life. Your money is so important in that space. Even that, a friend of mine told you way back in sales, right? If I had you in my life and we could have connected, you could have helped her unpack some of this.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
Yeah, you don't want to be in this place where you can't read.
Right, and we're talking about the brilliant life. And if this thought process is running through your head 24/7 without you uncovering it, this means that I'm exhausted. This is exhausting. This means I'm screwed. This means I'm not safe. This means whatever this means. If that's running 24/7, 365, what chance do we have in being whole and complete when it comes to our money and being the most brilliant that we can be?
Because what I can see and feel in that process, when I said you feel screwed, it's almost like you're working, but in the background, something more powerful, the beliefs are working just as hard, even harder, to make sure you're screwed. Okay, you're screwed.
Yeah, that's because our subconscious mind, it has taken over 90% of our brain, right? The other 10% is our conscious mind. And that's why sometimes, especially if you're a very positive person and you're into faith-based speaking, or you're into positive affirmations, or you're into the law of attraction, and you're doing the work, right? You're doing all of the positive work, but you're not taking a look at the things that are under the surface that sound startling in their negativity. If you're not taking a look at those, and you're not honoring, okay, and this is how I feel, and let's see what this is saying. Let's see what is this saying? What it has occurred in my background that gives me evidence that I'm not safe. When did that first start? When did that start appearing? And similar to what we did with Dr. Dravon today, the answer may surprise you. Here's a great life event, the purchase of a brand new house. Who knew that was a trauma? Right? Who knew?
Yes. Oh my gosh, I can see so much here. And when you were talking about 90% is the subconscious, right?
Yes, I have to check that figure.
You're actually right. I read an article just last week about this. And this brilliant life, guys, it is so on target, because I want to tell you that this book that I read said that, an article said that 10%, the 10% that we're talking about, which is, the positivity, that's the stuff that learns from reading, right? It's intellect, if you will, right? And guess what? You cannot effectively make positive change within your life, really. Intellect.
That's right.
It's the other 90%. It's like in the theta waves. I was reading an article about theta waves, and it's there. It's what you're talking about, where you can impact right there in that belief system. That is a game changer. A game changer. You could read 10 trillion books on saving and wealth building, and I've read a lot. But if you don't get to that belief pattern, it's just information.
It's just information.
Just information. It's not life-changing information. It could be, but we have not impacted the right part of self. We've just impacted our intellect. So now you know more.
So we've talked a lot about clearing. You have to clear it. Dravon, what is your favorite way of clearing limiting beliefs or resistance or things that are keeping you stuck, whether in your money or any other aspect of your life?
Well, I have a couple of ways. And one of the ways that I do is, for me, is quiet space and breathing. And reconnecting. And a friend told me this phrase, and it's my phrase, it'll forever be on my lips. He said to me yesterday, he said, through his journey in life, he has learned to go home more frequently and stay longer. And that's inside this internal place, the secret place of us, right? to go into that space more frequently and stay longer. So I do use quiet space breathing meditation for clearing. I use self-talk for clearing. I love self-talk. I love it because there's something talking here all the time, and I have to orchestrate and change the conversation frequently.
Yes.
And then the reason that I was reading this article about theta waves is because I have been doing something for a few months that I absolutely love, reprogramming some thought patterns that were not serving me any longer, and that is having earbuds in or things in and listening to on a very low volume ideas that support where I'm going.
Oh, I love it. Subliminal.
Subliminal. But here's the deal. I do it when I'm asleep. Like I put it on, I fall asleep, and it plays for 8 hours. Guys, I can't tell you the last time I had 8 hours of sleep. So, so I wake up. When I wake up, it's still in the mist.
Right.
So I wake up to this message that's in my theta wave. When you wake up, you're in theta wave state that is very impressionable. Very impressionable. So that's some of the techniques that I do. I'm a full day's work. Trust me, I have to stay on my game on that.
And I use the only clinically proven mind-body connection tool called EFT, emotional freedom.
I started using that. I didn't mention that because you taught me that.
Yeah, or tapping. And the way you do that is you tap on acupressure points on your body. For those people who are listening to me over SoundCloud or at WJMSradio.com, you can go to my website, www.KeishaDixon.com, to see an illustration of where the tapping points are. And for everyone else, the acupressure points that I use are the eyebrow point, which is right at the tip of your eyebrows, the side of the eye, and you just tap lightly in these areas right here, the side of your eye, under your eye, which is the hollow between your cheekbone and under your eye, under the nose, which is between your nose and your upper lip, chin, which is between your lower lip and your chin, collarbone, which is at the tip of your collarbone right there, under the arm, about 2 inches under your armpit, and the top of your head. You would take your fingers to the tip of your ear and bring them up until they meet at the center of your head, and then tap lightly there. And, as I guide my clients and myself through bringing down all of that noise, right? The noise that's saying, oh, I'm screwed. Oh, this doesn't feel safe. Oh, when will I ever get ahead? I'm hopeful, but when will I get ahead? This is exhausting. As I say that, I'm tapping, and it brings down the fight, flight, or stress response. It actually deregulates the fight, flight, or freeze response.
Yeah, and I should have mentioned that because I did that this morning. And I was sharing with you yesterday, I had an event occur in my life, and I was at a 9. You rate yourself as far as being like, oh, hair on fire.
Yeah.
A scale from 1 to 10, and when not just hair, whole body on fire experience, I was at a 9, self-rating myself, and I did the tapping exercise that you taught me and got down to a 2 on a scale from 1 to 10 in under 5 minutes. Amazing.
That is amazing. That's such a rapid drop in your cortisol and adrenaline area. That's awesome.
It feels like taking yourself on a vacation.
Absolutely. Yeah, just as I was doing that light tapping, I'm like, oh, that's so good.
It is so amazing. But I got a question for you because I was watching, I'm the kind of person, you tell me one thing, I'm like, I was had such good results. I saw people doing this karate chop thing.
Yes, there is the karate chop point. I always forget to mention the karate chop. The karate chop point is the side of your hand right here. And so you would tap with 2 fingers or 4 fingers, or you could even tap with both karate chops.
So what's that?
And most people use the karate chop point for what is called in the tapping world a setup script. Now, when I do my the setup script is basically when you state how, in the beginning of the tapping, you start with the karate chop or setup script round, and you state how you're feeling and that you accept yourself or deeply love and appreciate yourself. And then you say it again, how you're feeling, how you want to feel, and that you accept yourself or deeply love yourself,
Okay.
or choosing statements. And then you go on to the tapping rounds. Because when I work with my clients and when I work on my own self, I use activating processes similar
Okay.
to what we did with the money map. Like, right, we activated that subconscious, and all of a sudden you were very connected in how it was
Yeah.
feeling in your body. Because I use activating processes, I personally do not see a need for a setup script if my client is already there. They're already triggered, it's activated, let's just jump in and clear it. And and an even bigger reason that I don't necessarily like to use the setup script is I want to work on the issue at hand. And I don't want to get someone stuck in their head. I want them firmly in their body. I don't want to get them stuck on their head in their head with the statement, I deeply love and honor myself, because I don't know if they do. And
Oh,
when
that's
yeah, when I start with that statement, sometimes I have clients in front of me, I can see them immediately zone out. Like I don't love and appreciate myself.
because
That's
they
a
can't
lie. She's
repeat
gonna
that
find
statement.
out that's a lie. That's a lie. And they get stuck there. So we work it in throughout the script, but we're really there. We're laser focused in really breaking down the walls of resistance around money.
That is amazing. Yeah, the tapping is, I will say, the icing on everything. You said it's the only thing that you do. I'm new
It's not
to
the
tapping.
only modality that I use, but it is the only clinically proven
Okay.
modality to bring
Mhm.
down the stress response. I do dabble a little in other things and other modalities, but my go-to, I'm the tapping queen. My go-to is tapping.
Yeah, and I think tapping is the best of it is Eastern and Western medicine, right?
Yes,
Because it
absolutely.
brings in that, I think it was like the acupuncture and it brings in the psychology. So it's the best of both worlds. It's non-invasive, right? You can do it anywhere, right?
Do
You don't need, yeah,
yeah.
yes. I think it is amazing. In fact, I'm doing a workshop. I told you I'm going to mention it in my workshop because I did it again this morning. I did it again this morning. And as we evolve and as we're becoming more conscious about creating, using, they say, humans, most of us, the most brilliant minds only use about 10% of their brain. So that other 90%, if we can tap into that as a resource, my goodness, right?
Right?
And I feel like when I did that EFT just yesterday, in less than 5 minutes, there would have been no self-talk alone, no quiet meditation within 5 minutes to move me that much.
That's
It was
right.
amazing. It was amazing. Yeah.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Well, we're going to have to wrap up because I see we're running out of time. That went so quickly. So quickly. Dravon, we're talking about the brilliant life. Tell me 3 to 5 things that makes your life absolutely brilliant.
3 to 5 things that make my life absolutely brilliant. I got to start at the very top. I said, I'm hopeful. I am hopeful. I'm always hopeful. I'm not only hopeful for me, but I'm hopeful for all of our listeners and viewers that they will embrace something new today. If you want something different, do something differently. Secondly, I am adventurous. I am that woman who wants something different and embraces the idea of doing something differently on a daily basis. I am disciplined. I understand that just like going to the gym, I'm not going to get all my results today. It is doing something for the long haul that produces the desired results. I embrace love. That is, oh my gosh. So that's step 4 and 5. I know I may have said this before, but love and forgiveness goes hand in hand with me. I forgive myself first every day, and then I forgive everybody else and start over.
Absolutely brilliant. What an awesome, awesome list. Thank you again, Dr. Dravon, for this 3-part series of The Brilliant Life. You have been phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
And you're a recurring guest, so we'll see you again.
I love it too. I love it. Thank you guys for sharing this space. It feels like holy ground or something.
Oh, thank you. That's an honor. That is such an honor. And I wanted to thank our sponsor, Transformed Credit. If you're in need of rapid credit repair with no auto enrollment, You only pay as they delete. Text 44222 and type transformed credit. It's time to raise your credit score quickly. And I want to thank you, dear listeners, and especially Dr. Dravon, for participating in a small portion of the money map. And if you would like a full money map to do at the comfort of your own home, go to bit.ly/money map course. And you can download your money mapping right there. I'm Keisha Dixon, and I thank you for listening to this week's broadcast of What About Me? It's always my desire that you receive the clarity and the framework for a successful week. Join us every Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here at wjmsradio.com as we continue to shine the light of consciousness on those things that are holding you back from living the life of your dreams. I'm Keisha Dixon, transformational wealth coach, creator of the Monetize Your Mind Success System, the Visibility Vixen Success System as well. I guide women to shatter their internal glass ceiling as they double their income doing what they love. Have a wonderful afternoon, everyone.